Hi everyone, this is Miss Brazil. I am going to be reading to you from Artemis Fowl today. Will you follow along? I feel really bad that I wasn't able to continue reading to you in person. I think that we were all really enjoying the story, so I want to be able to continue doing that. As you can see on your screen, I'm going to be showing you the book itself so you can follow along easily while I read out loud. Before I start today, though, I just want to remind you of where we were at in the story because it has been a few weeks now since we've been able to read together. So once again, the name of the story is Artemis Fowl. I chose this story for you guys because it's a really exciting adventure, but also because the movie was predicted to come out in June. I don't know if that's still in the works, but hopefully the movie version will be available to be watched soon. So if you keep up with the reading, you can always follow up by watching the movie. So I'm limited by 15-minute increments as well. I just wanted to mention that really quickly. So this is going to be divided into several shorter videos. You can watch it at your pleasure and read along. You could do several videos at a time or just one at a time. That's up to you. So where we're at the story is that Artemis Fowl is a criminal mastermind, and he is seeking out the wisdom of the fairies. And we don't know an awful lot about that at this point. We do know that he has a troubled childhood. His father went missing. His mother, shortly thereafter, sort of went a little bit bonkers. She kind of lost her mind a little bit, and now she's a shut-in. She's bedridden, which means that she basically can't go anywhere, do anything. Her memory is really bad. She often doesn't remember or recognize her own son, Artemis. The secondary character that we most recently met is Holly the fairy. Holly is some sort of like military type agent within the magical world, and she's going on a mission right now. She is chasing a troll, and she is using very outdated modes of transportation, and this is her first mission, and it's also considered to be a very dangerous mission. So we're starting off where Holly had finally tracked down the troll. The troll is within a Italian restaurant in the human world, and Holly needs to help save the humans from the troll. So I'm going to begin on the very first line of the page that you see in front of you, where it says she appeared to be in a restaurant. Now that's backtracking just a little bit, but I've decided it's the best place to start the story. So let me have a sip of water, and then I'm going to read to you. She appeared to be in a restaurant. A packed restaurant. The troll had been temporarily blinded by the electric light and was thrashing about in the center of the floor. The patrons were stunned. Even the child's plea had petered out. They sat gaping, party hats perched comically on their heads. Waiters froze, huge trays of pasta quivering on their splayed fingers. Chubby Italian infants covered their eyes with chubby fingers. It was always like this in the beginning, the shocked silence. Then came the screaming. A wine bottle crashed to the floor. It broke the spell. The pandemonium started. Holly winced. Trolls hated noise almost as much as light. The troll lifted massive, shaggy shoulders, its retractable claws sliding out with an ominous shake. Classic predator behavior. The beast was about to strike. Holly drew her weapon and flicked it up to the second setting. She couldn't kill the troll under any circumstances, not to save humans, but she could certainly push him out until retrieval arrived. Aiming for the weak point at the base of the skull, she let the troll have a long burst of the concentrated ion ray. The beast staggered, stumbled a few steps, then got very angry. It's okay, thought Holly. I'm shielded, invisible. To any onlookers, it would seem as though the pulsing blue beam emanated from thin air. The troll rounded on her, its muddy dreadlocks swinging like candles. No panic. It can't see me. The troll picked up a table. Invisible. totally invisible. He pulled back a shaggy arm and let fly. Just a slight shimmer in the air. The table tumbled straight toward her head. Holly moved, a second too late. The table clipped her backpack, knocking the gas tank clean off. It spun through the air, trailing flammable fluid. Italian restaurants, wouldn't you know it, full of candles. The tank twirled right through an elaborate candelabrum and burst into flames like some deadly firework. Most of the gas landed on the troll. So did Holly. The troll could see her. There was no doubt about it. It squinted at her through the hated light, its brow a rictus of pain and fear. Her shield was off. Her magic was gone. Holly twisted in the troll's grip, but it was useless. The creature's fingers were the size of bananas, but nowhere near as pliant. They were squashing the breath from her ribcage with savage ease. Needle-like claws were scraping at the toughened material of her uniform. Any second now they would punch through, and that would be the end of that. Holly couldn't think. The restaurant was a carousel of chaos. The troll was gnashing its tusks, greasy molars trying to grip her helmet. Holly could smell its fetid breath through her filters. She could smell the odor of burning fur, too, as the fire spread along the troll's back. The beast's green tongue rasped across her visor, sliming the lower section. The visor! That was it! Her only chance. Holly wormed her free hand to the helmet controls. The tunnel lights. High beams. She depressed the sunken bottom, and 800 watts of unfiltered light blasted from the twin spotlights above her eyes. The troll reared back, a penetrating scream exploding from between rows of teeth. Dozens of glasses and bottles shattered where they stood. It was too much for the poor beast, stunned, set on fire, and now blinded. The shock and pain made their way through to its tiny brain, ordering it to shut down. The troll complied, keeling over with almost comical stiffness. Holly rolled to avoid a scything tusk. There was complete silence, but for tinkling glass, crackling fur, and the sudden release of breath. Holly climbed shakily to her feet. There were a lot of eyes following her. Human eyes. She was 100% visible, and these humans wouldn't stay complacent for long. This breed never did. Containment was the issue. She raised her empty palms, a gesture of peace. Scusatemi tutti, she said, the language flowing easily from her tongue. The Italians, ever graceful, muttered that it was nothing. Holly reached slowly into her pocket and withdrew a small sphere. She placed it in the middle of the floor. Guardate, she said. Look. The restaurant's patrons complied, leaning in to see the small silver ball. It was ticking, faster and faster, almost like a countdown. Holly turned her back to the sphere. 3, 2, 1. Boom! Flash! Mass unconsciousness. Nothing fatal, but headaches all around in about 40 minutes. Holly sighed. Safe. For the moment. She ran to the door and slid the latch across. Nobody was going in or out, except through the big gaping hole in the wall. Next, she doused the smoldering troll with the contents of the restaurant's fire extinguisher, hoping the icy power wouldn't revive the sleeping behemoth. Holly surveyed the mess she had created. There was no doubt it was a shambles, worse than Hamburg. Root would skin her alive. She'd rather face the troll any day. This was the end of her career, for sure. But suddenly that didn't seem so important because her ribs were aching, and she had a blinder of a pressure headache coming on. Perhaps a rest, just for a second, so she could pull herself together before retrieval showed up. Holly didn't even bother looking for a chair. She simply allowed her legs to buckle beneath her, sinking to the chessboard linoleum floor. Waking up to Commander Root's bulging features is the stuff of nightmares. Holly's eyes flickered open, and for a second she could have sworn that there was concern in those eyes. But then it was gone, replaced by the customary vein-popping fury. "Captain Short!" he roared, mindless of her headache. "What in the name of sanity happened here?" Holly rose shakily to her feet. There was," the sentences just wouldn't come. "You disobeyed a direct order. I told you to hang back. You know it's forbidden to enter a human building without an invitation." Holly shook the shadows from her vision. "I got invited in. A child called for help." "You're on shaky ground there, Short." "There is precedent, sir. Corporal Rowe versus the state. The jury ruled that the trapped woman's cry for help could be accepted as an invitation into the building. Anyway, you're all here now. That means you accepted the invitation too." Said Root doubtfully. "I suppose you were lucky. Things could have been worse." Holly looked around. Things couldn't have been a lot worse. The establishment was pretty trashed, and there were 40 humans out for the count. The tech boys were attaching mind-wipe electrodes to the temples of unconscious diners. "We managed to secure the area in spite of half the town hammering on the door." "What about the hole?" Root smirked. "See for yourself." Holly glanced over. Retrieval had jimmied a hologram lead into the existing electricity sockets and were projecting an unbattered wall over the hole. The holograms were handy for quick patches, but no good under scrutiny. Anyone who examined the wall too closely would have noticed that the slightly transparent patch was exactly the same as the stretch beside it. In this case, there were 2 identical patches of spiderweb cracks and 2 reproductions of the same Rembrandt. But the people inside the pizzeria were in no condition to examine walls, and by the time they woke up, the wall would have been repaired by the telekinetic division. And, hold on, the entire paranormal experience would be removed from their memories. A retrieval officer bolted from the restroom. "Commander?" "Yes, Sergeant." "There's a human in here, sir. The concussor didn't reach him. He's coming, sir. Right now, sir." "Shields!" barked Root. "Everyone!" Holly tried. She really did, but it wouldn't come. Her magic was gone. A toddler waddled out of the bathroom, his eyes heavy with sleep. He pointed a pudgy finger directly at Holly. "Ciao, Fouletta," he said, before climbing into his father's lap to continue his snooze. Root shimmered back into the visible spectrum. He was, if possible, even angrier than before. "What happened to your shield, Short?" Holly swallowed. "Stress, Commander," she offered hopefully. Root wasn't having any of it. "You lied to me, Captain. You're not running hot at all, are you?" Holly shook her head mutely. "How long since you completed the ritual?" Holly chewed her lip. "I'd say about 4 years, sir." Root nearly popped a vein. 4? 4 years? It's a wonder you lasted this long. Do it now, tonight. You're not coming below ground again without your powers. You're a danger to yourself and your fellow officers. "Yes, sir." "Get a set of hummingbirds from retrieval and zip across to the old country. There's a full moon tonight." All right, you guys, I'm going to have to stop right there, but I'm going to pick it up in a video that's going to follow this one, okay? So just log on to the next video now. I'll be right back.